Will Warhammer Fantasy increase the base size? Now, you might be thinking that sounds like a weird question out of nowhere, but it just got me thinking recently when I was talking about scale and that kind of thing, about models that are actually released for AOS and if they will be usable in Warhammer the Old world. And then there is a big rabbit hole, so let's talk about it. So for those of you who don't know, in theory, Games Workshop's Fantasy and Age of Sigmar are all 28mm. They didn't change the scale of Fantasy when it turned into the Age of Sigmar, they just changed the bases. However, inevitably we get scale creep. Not only do you get scale creep, you get advancements in technology and maybe posing options, and I think that's really where this is going to be important. Now, in Warhammer Fantasy, there was a variety of different base sizes. Your sort of standard human-sized infantry was on a 20mm by 20mm base, but there were indeed 25 by 25mm bases. I can't think of people who had that, maybe like demons or something like that would have those bases, right? And then there was a wide gambit all the way up to, I don't know, whatever the biggest tank was, maybe for the Empire steam tank, which I'm forgetting the name of, which you probably call a steam tank, whatever it is. Either way, wide amounts of base sizes, but it's that small one at 20mm that sort of gets me intrigued. When you take a model that was designed for those 20mm bases and you put them on a 32mm base, which is what I believe Age of Sigmar is on, they look okay. They look completely fine. The problem here is that some of the ones that were designed at 20mm, they were designed to be rank and file, meaning they were designed to be immediately next to each other without any gaps. When you put people on a 30mm base, that's not even possible really in a way, because you can't get that many models like close to each other because of maths, I think, and just physics. But generally you're not trying to get the models like immediately touching. You might want that in some situations, but generally you can just rotate the model so it'll fit. However, models that were designed with rank and file in mind generally happen to be like more standard narrow poses. You know, maybe you're wielding a sword with the sword in front of you rather than with your arms like this, being like, I'm going to attack you with your, you know, two axes like an orc pose or whatever. Wouldn't really work in a rank and file unless they've maybe got their arms a bit higher, or, you know, they can't have their arms outstretched because it'll bump into the models next to you. And when those models that were designed with 20mm in mind, the developers obviously knew that, Games Workshop knew that. But whilst all the models that were designed with 20mm in mind that you can now buy for Age of Sigmar will be backwards compatible because they were always designed with that in mind, will the models that are sort of now designed with Age of Sigmar in mind, will they even fit on 20mm bases? Now, in some circumstances, the answer is yes. In some circumstances, you probably can't even use those miniatures because maybe there's nothing corresponding in the old world. I don't have any specific examples there, but that's probably happened. And then another question is, do you even want to, even if you could? But, you know, that's not really for this video. So there's two reasons I'm talking about this. One that I'm talking about here is like the practicality of it. If you're going from Age of Sigmar models where the poses are not really designed for it, that could be a problem. And then the second one is, I wonder if Games Workshop will make a conscious choice to actually increase the base size to maybe make the game a little bit more intimidating on the field without actually costing more money. Now, whilst I personally like a big rank of file block of like maybe 5x5 where it's like 25 miniatures, they're nice and compact, they look cool, they look organized, that's all very well and good, but maybe if you do the same with 25mm, you're taking up more space on the board. Maybe the points cost could reflect that, so you have less models, and maybe they want that as a design choice just to try and maybe keep the game being a little bit speedier, etc. Maybe they think that 25mm could be the new default. That would allow them to also do the new process of posing. In the past, we used to think that the technology sort of limited the amount of like customization options and stuff like that. Games Workshop have pretty much moved past that now. You can customize your model in almost any way, kind of thing. Typically, not in every case, but generally you can. And if they then have to constrain their designs to this 20mm base, are they going to want to do that? I'm not sure. So maybe for that reason and the fact maybe they want it to take up space, maybe 25mm could be the new default. Because whilst we have it confirmed that the scale is going to be 28mm and we have it confirmed that the square bases are back, and in the trailer I think it sort of shows a 20mm by 20mm base, they don't actually confirm that 20mm by 20mm will be the new sort of standard. Now, I actually can't see them increasing the base size. After saying all of that, I actually can't see it happening, partly because they've not communicated this at this point, and I imagine they would be very reluctant to have people who change their basing from square to round to have to go back to a different size of base. They might be like, well, we don't want to have people do that. And conversely, the people who never left the 20mm base, they didn't want to rebase once before. Why would you try and make them rebase to a 25mm? Or maybe what they'll do is just ease in 25mm over time. They could very easily say, hey, if your models came on a 20mm, you can still use your 20mm version, but you know, your Empire infantry going forward, they're going to be on the 25mm version. So, you know, when you buy that, you'll have to buy that size. That'd be okay. And I can sort of see that more than anything. I don't think they'll make like a company policy to be like, no, we are never going to use 20mm again. You have to use 25mm. But I would not be surprised if we start seeing 25mm become the standard. Now, I don't think Games Workshop have made any comments about that. If they have, do let me know in the comments below. Other than that, let me know your thoughts about base size. What do you think Games Workshop will do? Do you think they'll just design around it and make the models like a little bit more narrow? Sort of doesn't feel like that's GW's style right now, but maybe it is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.